All right, I'm not going to beat around the bush. That was about as bad as it could possibly get for the 49ers in week three. A game against the LA Rams where they had them from the beginning, from the first drive, the second drive, building up a 14-point lead early in the game, and then just never adding on. And that's where the 49ers blew it. They simply did not add on. They didn't go for the knockout punch. They let the Rams kind of hang around long enough. And finally, the Rams take the lead in the last 2 seconds of the game. This one is going to hurt. And that's what Nick Bosa said it should feel like. He says that they really have to feel this loss. Um, this is one that, I mean, we'll see where this season goes, but does this signal that this isn't the same 49ers team? Maybe we should pump the brakes on that one a little bit because we've seen this team get off to slow starts before and then turn it on. But I think that you're playing with fire, even if you're a 49ers team that has as much talent as they have to continue to dig a hole and then try to kind of dig out of it and try to get back there. Right now, the 49ers are 1-2 on the season after their 27-24 loss to the Rams. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-0. So obviously, there's a long way to go in the season, but man, this was disastrous on so many levels. And much like last week, where it seemed like the game really turned, or at least the kind of the tenor of the game was set on special teams when the 49ers had a blocked punt. This one also a special teams miscue for the 49ers where they had and really an opportunity to take, to add on to that 14-point lead. And what happened were, I think the Rams were desperate. They were playing without Cooper Kupp, without Puka Nacua. And of course, the 49ers had some injuries as well. They had their three top playmakers out of this game, as far as with McCaffrey, with Tebow Samuel, and with George Kittle. So I think the Rams felt like they had to steal some possessions. They had to do some things maybe out of the ordinary to win this game. And of course, when they're down by 14, that's exactly what they did. I'm just surprised that Brian Schneider and the 49ers punt return unit wasn't expecting a fake punt when it came, because the fake punt happened. The Rams picked up the first down, and then they go down and score. And now it's a different game. It's a 14-7 game, whereas it would have been 14-0. And the way the 49ers were moving, they had an opportunity to tack on 3-touchdown lead. Game's probably over in the first half. But the 49ers, did come back. They did get another 14-point lead, but they never put those final touches on. And it was breakdowns throughout. Other than Brock Purdy, who had a really good game, other than Juwan Jennings, who had a career game, the 49ers simply did not play well. And it was special teams was really, the area that will certainly get the worst grade known to mankind. I mean, if there was a grade worse than an F, special teams would get it. So they gave up the fake punt. Jake Moody missed a 55-yard field goal late in the game that could have clinched it, given them a 10-point lead late. And then there was also a long punt return that was allowed. When Malik Mustafa missed a tackle early on, 49ers were shaky in the coverage unit, and ends up being a 38-yard punt return that basically sets up the winning points for the Rams. Defense had its share of issues. The pass rush simply wasn't there. They need to get more out of that pass rush. The coverage wasn't there. A lot of penalties. Isaac Yiadom was kind of picked on in the 49ers defensive backfield. He gave up a 48-yard pass interference penalty to Tutu Atwell. And then, another disastrous play after the long punt return with the score tied. Deommodore Lenoir is actually called for two penalties on the same play, but both of those were declined because Devondre Campbell in coverage gets a 25-yard pass interference penalty. So, big time breakdowns on special teams and on defense, but also on offense, as well as Jennings played, as well as Purdy played. The 49ers had their opportunities on offense. Brandon Ayuk did not step up like everybody thought he would have to step up in order for the 49ers to win this game. Brock Purdy had 10 passes intended for him. Ayuk only had 5 catches for 48 yards, couple of drops, including one on a big third down early in the game when the 49ers could have added on to that 14-point lead. But the big one was Ronnie Bell, second year player who I thought was on the roster bubble. I didn't have him making the initial 53-man roster, but he did. He's been in uniform for each of these games, and he had an opportunity to make a big catch down the field. He should have caught it, no question about it. It was an easy catch for an NFL wide receiver. He dropped it. 49ers, that's about at the 20-yard line. So it would have given Jake Moody an opportunity to win the game after he had missed the 55-yarder. But he drops it. That's when the punt occurred. And so all that is history. So where are the 49ers? They got a lot of issues. And this was a game that they let slip away. Whereas last week, somehow they stayed in that game against the Vikings despite all their sloppiness. This game, they let the Rams stick around because of their sloppiness. And eventually the Rams, which is, is basically Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, a running back, and a whole bunch of no names. And they beat the 49ers star power. All those guys, the guys that are missing, one thing, but the 49ers still had their guys on defense. They gave up way too many big plays on defense. This was a game the 49ers should have won, no question about it. And now they really have to look at themselves in the mirror and figure out where they go from here. Bottom line, do I expect major changes from this game? No, that's not the way they operate. They're going to stay the course. I'm sure you're going to hear that a lot this week, stay the course. But this is a team, a game that that shows the 49ers vulnerabilities. And yes, they've done it in the past. They've come back. They've put together good seasons, but this is a different team. Every year is a different team. They need more contributions from their star guys. They need more contributions from the bottom of their roster as well. So that's a quick recap from the 49ers 27-24 loss to the Rams. And thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. Thanks for liking and commenting and everything else. And we'll be back at you real soon.